Welcome to Time Travel, unfolding stories that shaped our world. The History of Australia. Episode 1, The First Australians, 65,000 Years of Culture. Before it was called Australia, this was a land of timeless stories. A continent shaped by fire, spirit, and survival. A place where the world's oldest living culture began and still endures today. In this first episode, we return to the beginning, to the first Australians and their 65,000-year journey of knowledge, art, and connection to the land. Part 1. Arrival on an ancient land. Imagine standing on a coastline untouched by time. The waves crash against red cliffs and the air carries the scent of eucalyptus and salt. More than 65,000 years ago, early humans arrived here after a journey that would change the world forever. They came from Southeast Asia, crossing narrow straits and shallow seas, following the stars and the tides. At Majid Baby in the Northern Territory, archaeologists discovered tools and pigments left by these early settlers, evidence that humans were thriving here when Europe was still locked in the Ice Age. These first Australians were explorers, scientists, and storytellers. They studied every rock, every plant, and every sign in the sky. They adapted to freezing deserts, tropical rainforests, and mountain plateaus. In every environment they found food, water, and meaning. To them, the land was not a possession. It was kin. It was the mother that sustained them and the teacher that guided their way of life. Part 2. The Dreaming, a spiritual map of the world. For the first Australians, the world was born through story. The Dreaming, or Dreamtime, explains how ancestral beings shaped the land, the animals, and the people. Each mountain, river, and waterhole carries the memory of those creation journeys. The Dreaming is not just mythology. It is a map of time and a guide to living in harmony with the world. It tells people where to find water, when to harvest food, and how to care for country. In this world, everything is connected. People belong to the land, and the land belongs to them. Animals, plants, and humans are all part of one great system. Bound by respect, reciprocity, and spiritual law, through songlines, ancient paths traced across the continent, stories were sung rather than written. A song could describe a journey of hundreds of kilometers, naming every river, hill, and tree along the way. By singing these songs, generations could navigate vast distances and remember every sacred place. Part 3. Innovation and Adaptation. The first Australians were engineers of the natural world. They shaped the landscape with fire using a technique now known as fire stick farming. By burning small areas at the right time, they encouraged new growth, attracted animals, and prevented catastrophic bushfires. In the south, they built complex eel traps and water channels at Budge Bim in Victoria, a sophisticated aquaculture system that dates back thousands of years and is now recognised as one of the world's oldest examples of engineering. They crafted stone tools, spears, and boomerangs with skill and precision. They made canoes to travel rivers and shelters to withstand harsh seasons. Trade networks stretched across the continent, connecting communities from the Kimberley to Tasmania. Through trade, they exchanged not only materials but also art, languages, and spiritual knowledge. These achievements show that Aboriginal societies were not static. They were dynamic, adaptive, and deeply scientific, observing patterns in weather, animal behaviour, and the stars. They lived sustainably on one of the most challenging continents on Earth for tens of thousands of years. Part 4. Art, Knowledge, and the Power of Story. Art was their library and their record of time. Across cliffs, caves, and rock shelters, they painted with ochre, charcoal, and clay. The images tell stories of creation, of ancestors, and of the spirits who shaped the world. The rock art at sites like Ubia, Norlangi, and Kakadu National Park reveals layers of history. paintings drawn, redrawn and preserved over tens of thousands of years. Some depict the ancient megafauna that once roamed this land, giant kangaroos and enormous birds now long extinct. Every handprint is a declaration of presence. Every figure and animal carries knowledge of law, ceremony and survival. These are not just works of beauty. They are the written language of the first Australians, a conversation between the past and the present. Even today, art remains central to cultural identity. It is how communities teach, remember and connect across generations. Part 5. Continuity and Legacy. Through ice ages, floods and droughts, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples maintained their connection to country. When the climate changed, they moved with the land, never against it. When new challenges arose, they adapted, guided by ancient wisdom. Then came colonisation. It brought loss, violence and displacement, but not silence. Despite everything, the strength of Aboriginal culture has never faded. Languages once suppressed are being spoken again. Languages once suppressed are being spoken again. Ancient knowledge of land and fire is helping modern Australia heal its environment. The first Australians remind us that civilization is not about conquest or monuments. It is about respect, harmony and continuity. It is about knowing that every piece of land holds memory and every story holds truth. This is where the Australian story begins. A story written not in books or buildings but in the earth itself. It is a story of people who have lived, learned and thrived in unity with their country for more than 65,000 years. Join us in the next episode of Time Travel, The History of Australia, as we explore episode 2, Terra Australis, When the World Discovered a New Land. Subscribe to Time Travel to continue the journey. And together, let's keep unfolding the stories that shaped our world. Time Travel, Unfolding Stories that Shaped Our World.